Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandellen. Throughout my career in ministry, I've had the opportunity to recruit and train a ton of volunteers. And one of my roles was recruiting student ministries leaders. And over the years, I developed kind of a process of identifying people instead of just asking, anybody want to do this? Because everybody wanted to go on cool trips and play games until it really required a lot of energy. What I would do is I'd find somebody. I'd find somebody I thought might fit, and then I would invite them into some conversations with families. And I'd introduce them to a family, so it was parents or a parent and a kid or two. And then I would observe. I would watch how this person who I was maybe thinking about inviting onto my student ministries leadership team, I'd watch not how they engaged the parents, but I would watch how they engaged the kids. And in those conversations, it would reveal a lot to me about where their heart was. Do they want to actually hang out and spend time with kids? Do they care about kids? And then I also learned that if they could win the kids, like if the kids fell in love with that leader, and they had a really good relationship with that leader, we gained significant trust with the parents. The unique thing about our faith is that God works the same exact way. In Bob Goff's latest book, Everybody Always, he talks about how God sent Jesus here to give us that framework, to teach us what it's like to engage his kids. And Jesus tells us often, he regularly communicates in a way that says, look, these are God's kids. And he's watching. He's trying to see how you engage with them so that, one, he knows your heart, and two, that if we can help care about those people, they will start to know the God who wants a relationship with them. See, Jesus really wants to see how we engage with people, with God's kids, so that he can see that heart inside of us. And it shows up in Matthew 25, 36 through 40. Jesus, in his Sermon on the Mount, says, I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. I was homeless and you gave me a room. I was shivering and you gave me clothes. I was sick and you stopped to visit. I was in prison, and you came to me. And the people around him are saying, well, hold on a second. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. What are you talking about? Like, I've never seen you hungry. I've never seen you thirsty. You haven't been to prison. And Jesus said, I'm telling you the truth. Whenever you did one of these things to someone overlooked and ignored, oftentimes, we refer to these as the least of these. That was me. Anytime you did something for one of my kids, you also did that to me. And we think about God kind of watching us and desiring us to engage with his kids in a way that show him better, that prove to these people that God cares. Then God smiles and he celebrates with us. See, Bob Goff also says in his book, he says, sometimes we get so hung up on talking about all these people instead of talking to them. We need to spend more time talking to them rather than about them. And Bob challenges us. He says, look, if you want to engage your faith, like if you want to experience more of God and you want more God in your life, then don't just agree with Jesus and think this is a great idea. Yeah, that's cool. I totally get it, Jesus. Like, that's cool that, I guess if I treated your kids better, it would be a reflection of you. I get that. Bob says go do it. If you want to, even to an extent of being a little bit selfish about it, if you want to experience more God, go be Jesus to others. And Bob kind of has a funny way about telling stories, and he says, you know what, I used to go to In-N-Out. He lives in California, so now we're all thinking about double doubles and animal style and all that fun stuff. But he said, I used to just go buy a bunch of burgers and then go find people that were hungry and give them out. And he said, and I didn't write Bible verses on the burger wrapper, and I didn't tell them that, in the name of Jesus, I did this. That's not what Jesus is asking. He said, I just gave them out. Jesus says, don't go feed the hungry and say, because of Jesus. He says, just go do it and watch God show up. And so in our lives, what are those places that maybe we've been challenged? The places in our cities that we see opportunities to either give clothes, to provide food, to go serve a meal, to go, even the people standing on the street corner who we regularly write off because somehow we know they're scamming us. Bob suggests just carry some water around and hand it out. Start showing people Jesus because that's what he asks us to do. God says, whatever you do for one of my kids, you do for me. So this week in your faith, look for those opportunities and try it. Just instead of agreeing, instead of thinking it's a great idea, go do it.